If you're exhausted all day long, just dragging yourself from one task to the next, but the second your head hits the pillow, boom, you're suddenly wide awake. Well, you're absolutely not alone. And no, it isn't just stress. There's actually a specific habit that almost everyone does, literally every single night, that is quietly, systematically destroying your sleep quality. Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're breaking down exactly why you might be spending plenty of time in bed, but still feeling totally wrecked the next day. And by the end of this, you're going to know exactly how to fix it, starting tonight.
So many of us are clocking in 7 or 8 hours of sleep, right? But we're still waking up feeling like we barely slept at all. It kind of challenges everything we've been taught about rest. We've always been told duration is king, but looking at some really incredible research from the CDC, the NIH, and Harvard Health, we now know for sure that it's not just about how long you sleep. It's almost entirely about what you're doing in the hours before you sleep, because how you prep your brain for rest dictates the actual quality of the rest you're getting. So let's start with our first major culprit, Section 1, the melatonin problem. To understand why we're all walking around so tired, we first have to understand how our brain actually knows when it's time to sleep. Your brain operates on a highly sophisticated internal 24-hour clock. We call this the circadian rhythm, and it is entirely regulated by light. Think about it. For thousands of years of human history, when the sun went down and things got dark, your body recognized that absence of light as a clear signal. That darkness cues your brain to release melatonin, the crucial hormone that makes you feel physically and mentally sleepy. It's a really elegant, natural system. But well, here's where everything goes entirely wrong in the modern world. Our phones, tablets, laptops, TVs, they all emit a very specific wavelength of cool, bright blue light. So when you're lying in bed staring at your phone in the dark, that blue light travels right through your eyes and essentially tricks your brain into thinking the sun is still up. Your brain goes, oh, hey, it's daytime, we need to stay alert. And because of that, it completely halts your melatonin production. You're basically fighting millions of years of evolutionary biology with a 6-inch glowing rectangle. And the really crucial takeaway here from the National Institutes of Health is that evening blue light exposure doesn't just reduce melatonin, it actively delays its release by up to a few hours. Think about what that actually means for you at 2 a.m. Even if you finally put your phone down, turn off the lamp, and close your eyes, your brain chemistry is still lagging way behind. Your body might be physically exhausted and so ready for bed, but chemically, your brain hasn't gotten the memo yet. That right there is exactly why you find yourself lying in the dark, totally exhausted, but completely wide awake. But the problem actually goes much deeper than just trying to fall asleep. Let's move right into Section 2, sleep architecture. You see, what happens after you finally drift off is just as important. Sleep isn't just one flat state of unconsciousness. It's built in these complex stages, what scientists call sleep architecture. Throughout the night, your brain cycles through different phases, like light sleep, REM sleep, and most importantly, deep restorative sleep. Deep sleep is absolutely critical. It's the stage where the real magic happens. It's when your body repairs muscle tissue, consolidates your memories, and regulates crucial stress hormones like cortisol. But here's the kicker. Using screens before bed severely fragments this architecture. It drastically reduces the total amount of time you spend in that essential, deep restorative stage. So there's this massive disconnect. The myth tells us that simply spending 8 hours in bed equals a good night's rest, right? But the biological reality? Evening screen time completely compromises your sleep architecture, giving you shallow, low-quality sleep. You might technically be unconscious for 8 hours, sure. The clock says you slept, but if a massive chunk of that time is just light, fragmented sleep because your melatonin was delayed, well, you're absolutely going to wake up feeling groggy, drained, and just miserable. It totally validates why you can sleep a full night and still feel like you were hit by a truck the next morning. It really isn't the quantity of hours, it's the compromised quality of those hours. Now, as much as we love to blame our phones, they usually aren't acting alone. Let's take a look at Section 3, the hidden habit stack. According to research from Harvard Health, poor sleep is rarely the result of just one bad decision. It's usually a compounding pattern of habits. Let's look at this timeline. Caffeine is a massive hidden factor here because of how long it actually takes to leave your body. Caffeine has a half-life of about 5 to 6 hours. So if you grab a coffee or an energy drink at 4 p.m. to survive that afternoon slump, by 10 p.m. when you're trying to wind down, roughly 50% of that caffeine is still fully active in your system. You might not feel super jittery, but your central nervous system is absolutely still being stimulated. fighting right against your natural sleep drive. And watch how this builds into what we call the sleep-wrecking stack. It's the combination of these things that creates a total nightly disaster. First, you've got that late afternoon caffeine lingering in your bloodstream. Then you add irregular sleep timing, going to bed at 10 p.m. one night, midnight the next, maybe 1 a.m. on the weekends. This completely confuses your circadian rhythm, which really craves predictability. Finally, throw in bright overhead lights in your living room or bathroom in that critical hour before bed. That suppresses whatever melatonin your brain was desperately trying to produce. When you stack late caffeine, inconsistent bedtimes, bright room lighting, and then stare at a blue light-emitting phone in bed, you're giving your brain literally zero chance to naturally wind down.
But hey, here is the really good news. Now that we know exactly how we're breaking our sleep, we know exactly how to rebuild it. Let's get into section 4, the fix.
Okay, let's dive right into this roadmap. Based on strict sleep hygiene guidelines from the CDC and the NIH, we've got 5 achievable, high-impact fixes. And don't worry, this isn't about completely upending your life or buying some expensive gadgets. This is just about making deliberate, science-backed adjustments to your evening routine to finally get your brain chemistry working for you instead of against you. Let's break these down one by one. The most crucial point starts with this number, 30 to 45. If you do absolutely nothing else, commit to a 30 to 45-minute phone-free wind-down window before you go to sleep. Seriously, this is the single highest impact change you can possibly make. By putting those glowing screens away in another room or even just across the bedroom, you immediately stop that artificial blue light from hitting your eyes. This gives your brain that critical 45-minute buffer to finally say, okay, phew, the sun is down, and start releasing the melatonin you desperately need to initiate deep sleep. Step 2 builds right on top of that. Dim your overhead lights an hour before bed. Instead of having the main, super bright ceiling lights blasting, just switch to a small, warm-toned reading lamp. By lowering the ambient light in your physical environment, you're actually mimicking a natural sunset. This simple environmental cue ensures your natural melatonin release happens right on schedule, rather than being forcefully delayed by fake daylight. Step 3 is something most of us, myself included, kind of hate doing, keeping your sleep and wake times consistent, even on the weekends. I know, it's so tempting to sleep in on a Saturday to catch up on rest, but from a purely biological standpoint, your circadian rhythm thrives on absolute consistency. When you wake up at the exact same time every day, your body learns exactly when it needs to start feeling tired at night. You really can't hack the system by binge sleeping on weekends. You honestly just end up giving yourself a form of social jet lag that ruins your sleep architecture for the whole next week. Step 4 addresses a really common misconception. People always ask, can I just use night mode or blue light blocking glasses? Well, the reality is, night mode on your devices definitely reduces the effect, but it absolutely does not eliminate it. The science clearly shows that while these filters are helpful if you absolutely must look at a screen for an emergency, they are not a free pass to just scroll social media in bed. Your brain is still being stimulated by the content itself, and enough light is still sneaking through to disrupt your deep sleep phases. It's a band-aid, not a cure. The device really still needs to go away. And step 5 brings us right back to our hidden habit stack. Keep your last cup of coffee or any caffeinated beverage to the early to mid-afternoon. Because of that 5 to 6 hour half-life we talked about earlier, a 2 p.m. cutoff gives your body a solid 8 hours to process and flush out the vast majority of that stimulant before a 10 p.m. bedtime. Now, of course, this depends a bit on your own personal sensitivity, but creating a strict caffeine curfew is an incredibly effective way to ensure your nervous system is actually ready to power down when your head hits the pillow. So let's quickly recap exactly what we've covered today. First, evening blue light from your screens actively delays your brain's natural melatonin release. Second, this delay heavily fragments your sleep architecture, meaning poor, unrefreshing sleep happens even if you're in bed for a full 8 hours. Third, you've got to be aware of the compounding habit stack. It's rarely just the phone, it's the late caffeine, the bright room lights, and the irregular timing all teaming up to wreck your rest. But finally, the fix really is uncomplicated. By applying a few simple environmental changes, you can take total control over your brain's sleep signals. I really want to leave you with this challenge. Try just one of these changes tonight. You don't have to be perfect. Even just implementing the 30-minute phone-free window alone is going to make a noticeable, profound difference in how refreshed you feel within just a few days. Now, just a quick reminder, this explainer is strictly for educational purposes and isn't a substitute for professional medical advice. If your sleep issues are persistent, please do consult a healthcare provider. But hey, if this breakdown helped you understand your body a little bit better, please hit subscribe. We love bringing you clear, science-backed insights like this. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Take a hard look at your own evening routine. Of everything we just discussed today, which single habit are you going to change tonight? Are you going to set that caffeine curfew? Are you finally going to dim those lights? Or are you going to leave that phone on the other side of the room? Make a choice. Drop a comment down below letting us know what you're committing to and take back your rest. Thanks so much for joining this explainer, and we'll see you in the next one.